Darci, Jaret, your first wild goose.
First time gooser.
How's it going?
It's great. Well, it's raining a lot.
Yeah.
But I love camping.
Yeah.
And and I don't know. I'm having lots of fun.
Yeah.
We're camping
We're neighbors.
next to
We're
each
camping
other.
Neighbors. You have fed me and given me coffee, for which I am forever grateful.
Yeah,
You
I
took
like
down
doing
my
that stuff.
clothes that were drying when it started to rain, so I'm grateful for that.
Tried
It's
to put
good
them
have good
away.
neighbors.
Good neighbors. We're next to another congregant friend.
Right.
Amazing human who's
Yeah.
a volunteer too.
Yeah. Yeah. So
It's great.
you and I met a couple of years now, almost maybe. It's been a little over a year, and we've had the chance to collaborate in Atlanta on a couple of things. And so let's talk about Created to Create, which is something that you launched last year.
It's been a little, it's sort of
further
a,
than that? Okay.
It was a soft launch while in seminary.
Okay. I missed the background on that. Okay.
Yeah, I started Created to Create, or I started Art in the Image.
Yeah.
While I was in seminary.
Yeah.
I was starting to do live paintings in different places, and I was starting to do art ministry, and I was an intern at Park Avenue Baptist Church, and I realized if I was going to launch something, I had to do it then while I was in seminary, see what it was like,
Yeah.
and move on from there,
Yeah.
or continue it from there. And so Art in the Image.
Right.
We do all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Worship landscaping, collaborative art in church is my favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
And so I get to do a lot of that experimentation at Park Avenue,
Right.
where now I'm on staff and serve as artist in residence. And that work is just magical. So it's like creating new, responsive, embodied liturgy
Yeah.
that goes along with different sermon series
Yeah.
or different liturgical seasons.
Right.
And really asking people to tap into their
Absolutely, yeah.
creative insights.
It's one of the things that I love is because so often visual art, and you're not just limited to visual art, but if we talk just about visual art, it often comes as it's almost performative, right? So
Yeah.
and I know there's some places where you do that, where you're
Oh,
interacting.
yeah, that's totally fun, but it's
you're up front
performative.
and performing, you're painting. But you do interactive, collaborative worship art experiences, which is
Yeah.
incredible to see and to participate in.
Yeah, it's really touchy. So I used to go into congregations.
Right.
You invited me to Presbyterian
Right,
context.
right.
It's kind of like the ones that I used to do a lot of work in,
Yeah.
where it's like people that tend to not subscribe to, they think of themselves as not artists.
I'm not an artist, yeah,
Right. So that used to be the hurdle
Yeah.
to get over, was like, no, you are an artist, you are creative. But at Park Avenue, the average age, we're the old people there. You and I.
Speak for myself.
Speaking
I'm older
for
than you. I'm older than you.
well, barely. But I present as young, and I'm like, I'm 40. And people are like, but I thought you were 25. I'm like, I'm just immature. It's cool. But at Park Avenue, where the average age is 30 or 28, I think.
Yeah.
Folks are ready.
And
if
a
we
lot of them
don't have
are
a
artists too, yeah.
participatory thing,
Yeah.
they're like, well, you know what really sticks out in my mind is that time we built a river out of chicken wire, So the collaborative stuff is, I think people want to be involved in that.
Yeah.
And, if the critique maybe of just having a sermon in service is that it can be something that we just consume as people who go to church. So
Right.
tell me the message, challenge me to think about something, like sort of a service-oriented thing.
Yeah.
I mean, people call it a service.
Impress
but,
me.
Right. Feed something to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's creative to have an artist up front,
Sure.
but you can also externalize that. You
Yeah.
can say, well, isn't that artist so creative? Whereas my theology would suggest we are all creative. We are
Art
all
in the image. It's right there in the name.
We are made in the image of a creative God who works with matter and clay and the universe, and I can work with chicken wire and fabric and,
And dryer lint.
sand, dryer lint.
So, and here at the Wild Goose, you're about to lead an experience of visual pastoral care.
Yes, I call it. It's a mouthful. There is I call it the visual narrative pastoral care model.
I knew I was going to get it wrong.
It's hard. But it's combining a few things. The narrative pastoral care model is about telling our stories.
Right.
And so it also says there are narratives and stories in our lives, and we can follow those narratives, or we can, at a certain moment, with help, with pastoral care, we can re-story. So I use the example of my own life. I'm an addict in recovery. There was a narrative of how my life was going. And in order to get clean, to really embody a change, it wasn't just like, I came to Jesus and I got clean. Those things happened. But there has to be an internal process that happens where I literally reorient myself to a different way, a generative narrative. And for me, that narrative really is like created by God, called good, genderqueer, same gender loving family, like made by God.
Yeah. Amen.
So the visual narrative model lets people do that and make art.
Yeah.
And combines several things that I love, which is abstract art, collage, and just talking and listening.
Yeah. And I've gotten to experience that firsthand with you, and it's a great experience.
It's fun. Actually, this is a workshop. The one that they wanted to do, I have a couple that I do, but this is the workshop that you've been in.
That we did. Okay. All right. Very cool.
Yeah,
very
it's
cool.
the cloud of witnesses.
Yeah,
we look at
That's very awesome.
2 Corinthians and we say, talk about you.
Who's your cloud?
Put yourself into a mural story.
Let's talk about Created to Create, which is something that is about a little over a year old. And
we're in our second grant cycle.
And you've invited me to participate as a collaborator this time around, which is a lot of fun for me. Well, I participated in part of it last year, but to be a part of that. So let's talk a little bit about Created to Create.
Yeah. Created to Create evolved because it was basically all the things that I wanted when I was becoming an art minister. I needed a space to practice. I needed a congregation that was willing to say yes and to my weirdness or creativeness. I needed other people that were willing to say, oh my God, that's a great idea. Have you ever thought of this? And to continue that conversation, I needed resources, money, and stuff. And so Created to Create evolved. And in the first year, it really was kind of just me and one of the other pastors at Park Ave wrote a grant, and we got it, which was like mind-blowing.
Right.
So what you and I worked on, you know this.
Yes.
But we did several creative events where we brought in amazing people. Dr. Greg Ellison, the second, Patrick Reyes,
Corey Johnson,
Saifa,
Saifa Hill, Saifa Wall,
yeah, everyone.
I'm getting everybody's name.
I know.
We're showing our age.
These?
No, we're not editing these at all.
I just messed up friends' names. It's cool, Dr. Reyes. I think you're awesome. Anyway, so it was great and a lot of work. And this year we're doing a little bit different approach. So we've got a cohort again of 6 folks, but we're doing cycles. It's so hard for artists. I mean, we're always hustling and so you can commit to 3 months and do a 3-month thing. And for our first collaborative thing, which I need to invite you to, Trisha Hersey's coming in to do a nap installation.
Nap Bishop. She's amazing.
Yes.
Awesome.
I went to seminary with the Nap Bishop, who's amazing, Trisha Hersey. And we'll do kind of smaller events in these smaller cycles and then something really big at the end.
Awesome. Awesome. Cool.
Fun.
Thank you, Darci.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for talking.
Yeah.
Marthame, you're awesome.